In August 1939, Poland calls for violence against the Reich. Because England wants war, Poland wants war. Supported by promises of aid from the Western powers, Warsaw overreaches its provocations against Germany. Reed Schmigly parades his army. They dream of a greater Poland. The Pilsudski-style political megalomania is boundless. As planned at Versailles, Poland has built up its peacetime strength. 30 divisions, standing army 2 million men. It would suit these gentlemen just fine if Polish tanks broke through the Reich's borders and drove it back to the Elbe, to Bremen, Hanover, Kassel, perhaps even as far as Nuremberg. The first target is Danzig. But Danzig is German. Was German, and will remain German. On August 10th, Gauleiter Forster warns.
Kriegsdrohungen, mögen sie noch so herausfordernd sein, schrecken uns keineswegs und werden in Danzig keinerlei Anzeichen von Angst hervorrufen. Wir haben in Danzig in den letzten Wochen alles getan, jeden Überfall oder Handstreich, ganz gleich welcher Art, auf Danzig abzuwehren und entsprechend zu beantworten.
And Danzig can rest easy. Adolf Hitler's Wehrmacht are ready to take on Greater Germany's freedom fight. The German forces are armed. With cheers, the old Hanseatic city greets the training ship Schleswig-Holstein, presenting the greatest navy. And like a sword in the sky, Our young Luftwaffe is ready, resolved to crush any who dare to break the European peace.
Attention, attention! London here with news for Germany. Lord Halifax has declared in chambers that our guarantee to Poland is in force. England's fleet is ready to put to sea in a few hours. British citizens are leaving the Reich.
Attention, attention! Warsaw here. Poland is defending the freedom of all people. Danzig must go to Poland.
Hello, this is Radio Paris. Hitler murders Europe.
1.5 million Frenchmen are deployed against the West Wall.
London is the hub of warmongers. Between Downing Street and Parliament House, the plutocracy let their puppets dance. It is the fateful hour when England gave Poland carte blanche. The Democrats' hysterical hatred of Germany boils over. The diplomats play their cards. Poland should strike. Germany will strike back. Then you have your grounds for war, Mr. Chamberlain. The man on the street gets a different story, handed out by England's Jewish war minister, Belisha. What is this? Hitler wants war? Poland is already in a state of war. Here, the homes and farms of the ethnic Germans are already burning. Here, the defenseless are massacred. Thousands flee into the Reich. The elderly, women, and children who had been hiding in the forests now slip across the border. How much have these people had to suffer? Just because they are Germans. The Luftwaffe has swapped its airfields with East Prussia, Pomerania, and the Baltic Sea. High alert. Any hour can bring the order for action. Borders and coastline, large cities, bridges, and industry are under our protection. On the field airstrip, the aircraft are camouflaged against surprise attacks. Bombs are loaded. It's just like on maneuvers. But now the bombs are live. A dangerous cargo, geared to break any resistance. The engines are checked. Fueling up. It must be said, even the best airplane, the most courageous crew, are lost if the ground personnel are not absolutely reliable. Vabu means arms bunker. Machine gun munitions are girded. The MG in the bow is ready. The last bomb is hung. The bomb bay closes. Woe betide if it opens above enemy territory. Germany's air power is ready. Anyone who wants peace must be armed for war. The Führer still makes a final attempt to rescue the peace. The world holds its breath. September 1st, ambushes on the Reich's territory. Boyton is shelled by Polish artillery. 2 are known dead, 35 injured. This is war.
Polen hat heute Nacht zum ersten Mal auf unserem eigenen Territorium auch mit bereits regulären Soldaten geschossen. Seit 5:45 Uhr wird jetzt zurückgeschossen. Und von jetzt ab wird Bombe mit Bombe vergolten.
Break blocks away. The German Luftwaffe starts its first enemy flight. Stukas. Reconnaissance aircraft. Seaplanes. Fighters. Bombers.
In Osten und Höhen des Aders erwegendes Glück. Wir steigen zum Bord der Sonne hervor, wir lassen die Erde zurück. Kamerad, Kamerad, alle werden müssen warten. Kamerad, Kamerad, der Befehl ist da, wir starten. Kamerad, Kamerad, die Losung ist bekannt. Land an den Feind, Land an den Feind, von der Polenland.
The first flight over enemy territory. Deep into Poland's heart, the German sword is thrust. In cockpits and tail fins, men are at their MGs. Like flying fish, the fast fighters pull alongside the bombers. Pilots and observers know their orders. Find military targets, march routes, rail lines, airfields, and supply columns. Attention! Deployment road. Get ready. In the flight path, small tufts. The Poles are shooting. Just wait. We will answer with bombs. A last glance at the map. There's the railway junction. Ready? Go! Bursting flames and billowing smoke on the streets cover junctions and rail lines. German air power has discharged a torrent of steel. course, homeward. The mission is accomplished. As the wind plays, our fighters buzz around the conquered airspace. On the flight back, we see the effect of the airstrikes. Railroad tracks are torn up. Stations lie in ash and rubble. Long trains stand abandoned. An indescribable chaos. Beneath us, the tattered land looks like a cratered landscape. We are in our home port, back from our first sortie. Hello, comrades of the ground crew. There's work to do. Yes, sir, let's do this. When machines come back, they are thirsty, and we have to fly a few more times today. Like hungry maws, the bays open for a new bomb feed. A reconnaissance plane has landed. They are the eyes of the Army. They see deep into enemy territory, and nothing stays hidden from their cameras. The photo lab is set up in a forest. Specialists and trained teams evaluate the strategic and tactical information from the reconnaissance material. This gives commanders the basis for planning further operations. These pictures reveal the strength and weakness of the enemy. These photos show what will be put into action on our next flight. Westerplatte, Poland's bulwark against Danzig. German Stukas. will hammer down on the bunkers. Attention! Start the dive. Direct hit on Westerplatte. Back at home, our Stukas are many kilos lighter, but the lost weight will soon be compensated. There's a mishap. An aircraft comes back without its undercarriage. Shot away. A final loop over the field. Start the belly landing. Catch it slowly. Do not flip. Bravo! You cannot make an omelet without breaking eggs. Our young Luftwaffe has received its baptism of fire. The experience thrills every heart, and everyone is eager to engage the enemy anew. Discussing maps for the next mission, we want to go again. Bring up a new bomb. You have to take your time with such a heavy load. Refueling finished. Now off to a new attack. Dive bomb attack on a freight yard. Release. Attention. Enemy column on the road.
Report of the Wehrmacht High Command. On September 1st, the Luftwaffe attacks many Polish airfields. On the 2nd, the Luftwaffe furiously strikes other military objectives. September 3rd. The two air fleets have absolute control of Polish airspace. In the following days, the Luftwaffe supports the army by joining ground battle. Military transports are bombed, marching columns and trains are attacked. The enemy's retreat is thwarted.
We're in enemy territory to see the ground after the airstrike. This is how all important military targets were destroyed from the air within a few days. And here is what was left of the Polish Air Force. Skeleton after skeleton, a pile of wreckage. At Thorn, we capture Factory New fighters. These plucked birds never got to fly. By the woods, a camouflaged reconnaissance plane falls into our hands. At Bromberg, the German Luftwaffe occupies the first enemy airbase. work on this site. Craters are shoveled in, and the runway is leveled off. In just 12 hours, this Polish airfield has become a German one. But Polish signs forbid unauthorized entry. We're flying from Bromberg to Thorn, the railroad station in Bromberg. Air raid trenches, bomb hits. The Poles did not leave a single bridge undamaged. Between Polish flight and German advance, all bridges are destroyed. The Weisel River. Between Bromberg and Thorn, between the Bra and Weisel, is ancestral German land. Ethnic Germans cross over to their liberated homes. The advance goes on. The September sun is hot. Dust hangs over Poland like a fog. And, as impassable as these roads may be, Poland's bad roads have been called her Maginot Line. The German advance continues. It is unstoppable.
Report from Wehrmacht, September 10th. Many units near Radom are surrounded. To support the army, air formations join in the ground fighting.
The Wehrmacht High Command announces on September 11th, the surrounded Polish group at Radom has ceased to exist. The number of prisoners cannot be assessed yet.
The great battle in Poland is approaching its climax. On September 12th, the ring around the Polish capital is closed to the east. 9 Polish divisions and 3 cavalry brigades are surrounded in the Kutno arena. Desperate attempts by the enemy to break through are thwarted. The unit's concentric counterattack is in full swing. Again on the 13th, Polish troops seek a way out. The ring around Kutno is strengthened and tightened. On the 14th, more desperate counterattacks are thwarted. Camp log. By the 15th, the Polish army is encircled. September 16th. Kutno is taken. The retreat to Warsaw is also cut off. About a quarter of the Polish army is cramped together awaiting dissolution. Mass attacks by the Luftwaffe hasten the resolution.
September 17th, the last day of the battle for the Polish campaign. The annihilating blow. The Luftwaffe joins the ground battle. Long dust trails are churned up.
Fliegen zu Weizen und warten, wir fliegen ins polnische Land. Wir kämpfen beschwert das feindliche Heer, mit Blitzen und Bomben und Brand. Kamerad, Kamerad, alle Welt müssen warten. Kamerad, Kamerad, der Befehl ist da, wir starten. Kamerad, Kamerad, die Lohn ist bekannt. Marsch an den Feind, Marsch an den Feind, Bomben auf Polenland.
We are over the battlefield. Below us are the huge forests between the Weisel and the Masura. And now, on with the death and destruction. Bombs rain from the sky. A hailstorm of steel. Smoke and flames mark the retreat of the shattered Polish army. Squadron after squadron take off late into the evening. Each crew flying 6, 7, or 8 missions. A hot day. Once more, we take off to experience the nightly battlefield. We will never forget the images of this flight. Below us, the Bzura, the river where 9 Polish divisions met their fate. The Weisel. A heavy thunderstorm lies over the river. Modlin, the last fortress before Warsaw. The battlefield. Blaze upon blaze. All around, a burning landscape. The next morning, we drive to the area where Poland's defeat was sealed. This is Sochaczew, the bridgehead on the Bzura. Through the deserted streets, the wind spreads the fire from house to house. Air Signal Corps troops are among the first in the city. The communications between leaders and the front must never be disrupted. In long columns, the defeated army moves through the streets. The war is behind them. Ahead is captivity. We are on the road from Sochaczew to Vyshograd. It's the road of the lost divisions. Here perished the Polish army that after the Battle of Kudno tried to withdraw east over the Bzura and go to Warsaw. Not a single man from these 9 divisions reached Warsaw. The pass through the Bzura. Napoleon's crossroad over the Berezina. And now, on this road of horror, the first refugees return. Victims of the ruthless warmongers. The great German victory was not obtained without losses. The Ju-52 is used as a military hospital, safely transporting those who could only be saved by an emergency operation to Berlin in just 2 hours. The Weissel battle has ended. The Polish army is destroyed in just 18 days. This war cannot go down in history as the obliteration of a small, poorly equipped force by a modern giant army. The German soldier had to fight a well-equipped opponent, often while badly outnumbered. The advance continues. Across the Bzura, toward Warsaw.
From the Wehrmacht report of September 20th. Only Modlin and Warsaw still offer resistance.
We must consider the magnitude of the Polish defeat to grasp the criminal madness with which the people in Warsaw were persuaded that Poland was not yet lost. Charred villages, burned in battle or in retreat. Only chimneys remain like tombstones in a graveyard. Below us, the Weisel, sand-choked and ruined, like Poland's lifeblood. Demolished bridges, blocked waterways. There are prison camps throughout the land. Poland's rail network has been torn apart by the Luftwaffe. Those were supply trains. This was a railway embankment where a munitions train stood. Our Stukas hit with deadly accuracy. Poland is lost. But her leaders still hope for a miracle of England's favor promised them by the lying London radio network until the very last day. It is the final battle for Poland's capital. The bombardment of the forts has begun. The outer forts are taken. The Poles withdraw into the inner city. Our troops stand in the suburbs. In the burning suburbs, the mob is looting. Outside of the city lies an armored train, hurled from the tracks like a toy. Okechia, the capital's airport, is a picture of devastation. Our bombers finished it off in the first days of the war. Warsaw's position is hopeless. The German High Command dropped leaflets on the city. At the airfields around Warsaw, After this warning, the Luftwaffe is limited to reconnaissance. It has gotten cold in the second half of September. But you must make do, and an improvised barracks is livable. The days are spent waiting. But the German warning is unheeded. Warsaw will not be reasonable. A white flag along a street? Surrender? No. Diplomats and foreigners leave the capital city and seek German protection. In Warsaw, madness still triumphs. The city commandant compels the people to resist, making the open city a fortress. September 25, Luftwaffe orders. The Luftwaffe is ordered to break military resistance in the Luftwaffe's last operation of the campaign. Even the Ju-52 see action. There, Warsaw on September 25th. The drama of a city draws to a close. The bombardment begins at dawn. Wherever the steel death falls, the flames rise from Warsaw's fortifications, batteries, and trenches. After only a few hours, a dark gray curtain of smoke drifts over the houses. Now it shows what a monstrous crime it was to make Poland's capital a fortress, and to call the populace to senseless resistance. Between flights, a bite from the field kitchen. Then it's back over the city. Flight after flight. The wind drives the smoke eastward. The sun glares off the white cumulus clouds. The heat of the flames rising in bizarre formation like a gigantic mountain range. Below it lies hell. "36 hours later, Warsaw surrenders. The German Wehrmacht have struck their blow. Now the weapons are silent. Weapons at the ready, our guards stand at the outskirts of the city. After frightful days and nights, the starving populace leave their cellars and fill the streets. No one is allowed to leave the city except for a group of orphans. During the negotiations, we fly over the city again. Without bombs this time. Mr. Chamberlain is to accompany us on this flight. What do you say now, Mr. Chamberlain? Here you can see for yourself the catastrophe you have wrought. Don't you fear the curse of a people betrayed? Here is the result of your ruthless war politics. This is all you're doing. An offense you will have to answer for before the judgment of the world. And take heed. This is how it is when the German Luftwaffe strikes. It will know how to find the most guilty of all. Our flight over Warsaw is over. The shadow of our aircraft glides over the negotiations, while in this hour the curtain falls on this Polish drama. The surrender is signed. Commandant and mayor return to the city to perform their last official act. The march out begins that night. One can understand the good spirits of these prisoners, knowing they are ethnic German students who were drafted into the Polish army. The withdrawal continues into the next day. Railway workers, firefighters, on the morning of September 28th, the German advance guard marches into Poland's capital. Barricades, the main train station. Bombed underground tracks. The military headquarters in Warsaw. Officers of two fronts face one another as surrender terms are read out. German troops march across Pilsudski Square. But at the city gates, the rest of a defeated army gather, while those in power fled abroad like cowards shirking their duty. With man and horse and wagon, the Lord has struck them down.
Bilder von höchster Eindringlichkeit vermitteln in diesem Film dem deutschen Volk den gewaltigen Eindruck des Polenfeldzugs, in Sonderheit der Tätigkeit unserer Luftwaffe. Diese Luftwaffe hat hier Leistungen vollbracht, die für immer unvergänglich sein werden. Die Luftwaffe hat hier in höchstem Maße mit dazu beigetragen, den Gegner zu schlagen und zu vernichten. Als einst in Versailles dem deutschen Volk diese herrliche Waffe genommen wurde, da ahnte man nicht, dass unter der Führung Adolf Hitlers diese Waffe neuer, stärker und mächtiger wieder entstehen würde. Nun stehen wir am Abschluss des ersten Geschehens dieses gewaltigen Kampfes. Und was die Luftwaffe in Polen versprochen hat, wird diese Luftwaffe gegen England und Frankreich halten. Das heißt, auch hier wird sie den Feind treffen, schlagen und vernichten.